Welcome to the November edition of the Lion Lowdown.
My name is Sharon Burns. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing in Lansing USD 469, and I'm here with Superintendent Dan Wessel.
This month we will be discussing food pantries, FastBridge Testing updates, some GVC work we have going on throughout our district, and lastly, school safety.
Right, we first want to start by thanking our mental health team, our local Kiwanis Club, and our Links program who have been accepting donations of food for our local families in need. Not only have they been collecting them, but they've also been organizing them and then also distributing them. Thanks to their hard work, we've been able to help a lot of families here, and thank you to those who've donated food items to those families.
We are collecting food items in the foyer of each of our buildings, as Christmas time is also a time of need for many in our community, and we'll be taking those donations until December 8th in the front offices foyer of all of our buildings.
Yes, and if you're a family in need who would like food items for either Christmas or into the next semester, you can get on a list by calling one of our schools and talking to one of our mental health professionals. They can get you set up. You can also fill out a form on the website. It can be found on the Mental Health Team Professionals page by clicking the quick links in the upper right-hand corner, going to Mental Health Team Professionals, and then it's right there on that homepage.
Switching gears here, our mid-year FastBridge testing is currently being conducted across all of our buildings. The FastBridge testing, once again, is our universal screener, and that universal screener gives us a snapshot of how your kid is doing currently compared to norms, national norms. And so a second grader and how they should be doing, it lets us know, hey, are they on track or are they not on track? And then we use that information across our entire district, elementary or early childhood, elementary and intermediate school. We make sure that they have interventions, they get some additional help if they need it. And then at the high school, we do have interventionists at our high school and middle school also, and those look a little bit different depending. Sometimes they actually end up in a class at the high school or at the middle school if they're in need of some additional help. That information, like I said, FastBridge testing, it's something that we do 3 times a year, and we're in our winter screening time. So.
Right, and as a reminder to our parents, make sure during this time that your student is getting plenty of rest and having a good breakfast, not just because of FastBridge testing, but also because the flu season is definitely upon us. It has hit my family hard this past weekend, so it is very important that you make sure your children are getting a good night's rest and a healthy breakfast to start their day.
Not all of us are like Sharon, where we schedule our flu outbreak in our house during a holiday time, so we don't miss any school. First of all, wash your hands, and then wash them again. It's extremely important. But on the health side of things, if a child has a temperature of 100 degrees or higher, they should stay home. And they may return once the temp has been below 100 degrees for 24 hours. If they're positive for the flu, and we have had some flu in our district, they must remain home for 5 days from the start of symptoms or until they are fever-free for 24 hours without any medication in them, whichever is longer. So if you go to the doctor and they say you have the flu, you're out for at least 5 days. And the biggest thing there is, I know that can be an inconvenience, but we really try, to keep that outbreak down and across to all of our districts.
Right.
So, and wash your hands.
Wash your hands, yes, yeah. So our next topic we're going to discuss is the Guaranteed Viable Curriculum, or GVC. Probably if you've listened to some board meetings or visited the website, that's what that stands for. What that means is it's guaranteed that every student in our district will have the opportunity to learn the standards set forth by Kansas, and it's viable in that they are able to learn those things in the time given, the school year.
That maybe sounds easy, and it really isn't. Our teachers have been in the process of documenting exactly what they teach, and it will be a one-stop curriculum resource database to help our veteran teachers and new teachers to refer to. So if they have me as a teacher, if they have Sharon as a teacher, the kids meet those same standards regardless of who they might have. and it's continual work that we do. It'll be complete, for lack of a better term, and then we'll update it every year when we have new things that we're doing. So
right. Transparency is something that is very important to us as a district and to me personally. So what we're going to do is, once we have all that information compiled, we're going to be placing that on the website. I'm going to be working with Miles Azza, our Director of Teaching and Learning, to make sure it is on the website so our parents and teachers can access it there as well.
Speaking of parents and those of you with students in our district and receive your Skyward emails. We send it out via Skyward.
Yes.
We had an incident at the Lansing High School on Halloween that required us to examine some of our school safety procedures. It's one of those incidents, I would say, that really bring to light the things that you do every day and how aware you really need to be of your surroundings. So. Right.
So some ways that we're looking at school safety, some things we're doing right now is we're definitely securing all of our entryways. You'll notice that when you come to any of our buildings. Things we're looking for the future is we're looking for shatter-resistant film for the windows in our front offices. We're also looking at some security cameras, some video intercom systems, and then we're also looking at the addition of either another SRO, school resource officer, or security officers for each of our buildings.
One of the policy changes that we've already implemented that go right along with the video intercoms when we get those installed is procedures for checking students in and out, and for visitors to come into our building. If we're trying really hard, if you don't have a reason to come in, you just stay outside of the door, you check in your kid, they come in. If you're scheduling an appointment, let's schedule the appointment. It helps with our scheduling processes. It also will be much better because we know, hey, you're coming up at 1 o'clock, and we can have our meeting, we can discuss whatever we need to discuss at that point in time. The last part, and we've talked a lot about physical security, but through our incident at the high school, the safest thing happened. Kids heard something and they said something. And that communication line, Sharon's the Director of Communication, she was really proud of that because we heard of something that didn't sound right and we said something. And that's also an important part for you as parents. If your kids are coming home and talking about certain things, give us a call. Call the front office, call the teacher, and let us know. That hear something and say something is extremely important to keep us all safe. So.
Right. This incident was a good example of that. I mean, we had something obviously bad almost happen, but because the things that we had put in place, that the admin had put in place, happened, the student did report it, they immediately took action. It was the best case scenario given what was in front of us. As far as communication, just so our parents know, normally when we have an incident happen in a building, we will communicate that to all of the staff first, then we will let all the parents in that affected building know. In a case like this that is more serious, we do go ahead and email the entire staff in all of our district and all of our parents. So in this case, we did do that. So everyone should have received a Skyward message about that. Moving forward, we're also looking at ways to include the city on those communications so that they can communicate to the community as a whole, right. Not just those that have parents in our district.
We'll now move into our last segment, which is our favorite segment, and that is the shout-outs. And first of all, we just talked about call and have an appointment and keeping visitors out. We do have a lot of volunteers that we lean on in our district in order to make all the great things happen. If that's a class party, if that's a Lansing PTA Carnival, if that's a LEF Gala, if it's the Kiwanis Club helping us collect food. We have tons of volunteers, and I know I forgot some. Site councils that help us with some of our policies and procedures at all of our buildings. We couldn't do this thing called education without you. So that's our first shout out, is to all those parents and community members that continue to give back and to help us at USD 469.
Right, and our next shout out is to our nurses. I mean, they do an outstanding job keeping us safe and healthy, not just our students, but our staff as well. So thank you to them for their hard work.
And this concludes our November edition of the Lion Lowdown.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again in December.